Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. We work on it, we play on it, and grow our food in it. It's our soil. We know a lot about soil, but we pay very little attention to it. You might say we treat soil like dirt, but my guest this afternoon pays a lot of attention to soil. Whether you're a professional farmer or a backyard gardener, he has tips and information about soil health. Joining me is Ray Archuleta. He's an agronomist and soil health specialist with the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service, or Nrcs. Ray is based in North Carolina. He's visiting Vermont as part of the Farm to Plate annual meeting, which has the theme of good food from healthy soil and clean water. Welcome. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good morning.
Let's start out talking a little bit about your organization, Nrcs.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nrcs was started back in the 30s to deal with erosion, and erosion was a major issue back in the 30s, and it got to be such a point that that Congress instituted this agency to bring healing back into the soil, because erosion was a major issue.
Now, you've been with NRCS for over 25 years, working in the Southeast and the West, and now the South. What is your role there?
Well, my role is to teach people how the soil functions, how to make it healthy, and help our producers how to wean themselves or from those high costly inputs like fertilizer, chemicals, and to help them be more sustainable. So that's my role.
And is there something new in the world of soil health and conservation?
Oh, absolutely. We're learning every day. We're learning that the soil is an incredibly diverse, elegant, beautiful system, and that is incredibly complex. And it's incredibly forgiving, even the way we manage it, that they can recover very quickly. So we're learning huge amounts of information about how soil functions.
Now, your ideas and seminars are featured in a number of YouTube videos. In fact, you're known as Ray the Soils Guy. What are the key things that you communicate through your videos?
I think one of the most important things I want people to walk away, that the soil's alive. It's alive. And I think what we've done the last 75 years or maybe centuries, we treated the soil, like you said, like dirt. And even in grade school books, we teach that it's not alive, it's just a growing medium. And I'm telling them, no, it's incredibly alive. And it does all our nutrient cycling, and it's an incredible, beautiful living entity.
And now we're going to take a moment to see one of the NRCS videos in which you are featured. Here's a brief introduction to soil health.
Did you know soil is the engine of farm production?
But how do you know if it's functioning at its full potential?
By using this tool. Look at this residue.
Oh, there's an earthworm right there near the surface.
Look at all the holes. Wow, look at the little BBs. Looks like cottage cheese.
Roots are going straight down. Lots of pores in that soil. That's what healthy soil should look like.
It only takes a minute.
If you dig a little, you'll learn a lot about the health and productivity of your soil.
So all you need is a shovel.
Yes. A shovel, an understanding, a basic understanding how it works. So I teach farmers, if you get that shovel and start digging it and start looking for some of those spheres that are present in all good natural soil ecosystems, and then you can start evaluating your farm. One of the best things I do is I go to the woods, grab a shovel full, and I put it right next to the cropping system. And I said, look how nature farms and look how you farm. They should look the same. And when they see the distinct difference, the soil is really dark in the forest and theirs is very pale, doesn't smell well, doesn't have hardly any critters in it, then they start going, oh, what am I doing? So I use that as a compare contrast.
And so what can landowners or farmers do to help improve their soil?
The first thing is change the way you look at it, because you need to treat it like it's alive, like your own pet. And you need to understand that. And once you start doing that, you're going to start treating it differently. And that it's alive, it needs food, it needs to be protected, it needs water. So once you start treating it the way, with understanding, all of a sudden things start changing on that farm. And then all of a sudden you'll start seeing it by savings in inputs.
And so how long does it take to improve soil?
You know, that's a number one question I ask by producers. I said it's a function of you. How committed are you? How committed are you willing to learn? How committed are you to be a student and to start learning about it? So, but we've seen great changes by when you start reducing tillage and start bringing cover crops into the system. We've seen major changes in a couple of years. And not only visible changes, better infiltration, better water holding capacity, and it also helps you get through the droughts better. You'll start seeing major changes once you start incorporating less tillage, more covers, more diversity.
Is that hard to convince farmers of that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Most producers look at cover crops like, well, it's labor, more expense, more work. Why would I do that? And so I try to convince producers the soils and plants are one. They're not separate units. So what our college is taught, that the soil and the plant are different units, they're not. I tell people, I said, look, if I take the plants away and the microbes away, what do you have? Geology.
So you're not letting the soil rest.
Well, we're not feeding it.
Right.
And then we're beating it up all the time. So we're disking it, and we're not feeding it, and we're tilling it to death, and then we're not feeding it. So what we're saying is, if you just keep it intact and start feeding it, it will do what it's designed to do. Nutrient cycling, hold the water, do all the things that you want for a healthy crop.
And so 2015 is the International Year of Soils. Has that designation helped bring renewed interest to soil and soil health, do you think?
I think so. I think it helps. I think what helps more is that this movement of producers and farmers and very committed people are beginning to realize that if we get the soils right, we can address a lot of our climatic issues. We can address human health. I tell people, I said, name me one thing we don't fix, resource-wise, if we don't address the soil. Clean water, reduced energy. I think what's causing a great movement is farmers are realizing they're not making a living and they're going broke. And I think they're beginning to realize it's not working. So I think the movement is exploded by this passionate producers and passionate agency people are getting together and saying, hey, we need to change this. And so I think that's what's bringing things more to the forefront, really.
Passionate producers, but then more successful producers as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think what caused this movement is desperation. It was this very desperate producers that they were looking for answers. And so a group of us got together and we started realizing, and we've been doing this, I would say successfully since 2006. This movement just started exploding because we had success after success. And it was really based on a very basic premise. Farm like nature, mimic it. And the reason I missed it is because all the years of college, I just missed it. I just missed it. There's the template. So once we understand what the template was and started moving producers in that direction, it's just been beautiful, successful.
Well, let's take another look at NRCS video. This video looks at protecting healthy soil.
Is your soil naked or is it covered?
A healthy soil is covered all year round. Soil ecologists call this the detritosphere.
This is the soil's armor. Protects it from the elements and provides habitat for soil organisms.
Northropod. Fungus, saprophytic fungus.
Spider.
These organisms are a great indicator of a healthy, functioning soil.
If you want to keep your soil healthy, discover the cover.
If you're just joining us, I'm visiting with Ray Archuleta of the Natural Resources Conservation Service. That's so dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize there was so much going on in there.
Oh, and see, that's what we're showing. Where in those segments, we were showing that natural forests, prairies, all natural soils, ecosystem healthy, have that cover. And whether it's a green living plant or that detritosphere, that armor, are always present in those systems, pastures. So we're teaching producers, if you have that cover, that whether it's brown or green, a living plant, they need to be present 24/7 as much as possible.
Is poor soil health connected to soil erosion?
Erosion is a symptom of poor soil health.
Okay.
So I think that's the better way of saying it, because what happened is we used to be called the Soil Erosion Service. We missed it. It's a symptom. So what I tell people is, no, because the soil is not functioning, we have soil erosion. And we have lakes that are being filled with algae because the soil is not functioning, because it's not covered. We're putting too much nutrients, and it's not functioning properly. So unclean water is the effect, not the cause.
Got it. So what can be done about that? What's the best thing to do about that? I mean, it's a big issue here in Vermont with a lot of farms near lakes and rivers that run into Lake Champlain and near Lake Champlain.
It takes, I think what it does, it takes people that have holistic thought process, that understands the big picture, understands the soil ecology, the agroecology, and that works with producers to help them feel safe about reducing inputs. That they'll go in and help the producer and say, okay, we're going to put some check strips. Check strips means zero fertilizer, half rate, full rate, to intimately have a relationship with the landowner and work with them and help them through that process. I think we need to understand that for many years we taught, okay, you got to put this much fertilizer, you got to do this kind of things to get that crop. But we're saying, no, let's understand that system and how it really works, and let's go do our own demonstrations and our own field research and find out what the crop is really using. Because we have new technology now with new soil tests that can really tell us how much nitrogen is in the system. So that we need very committed, very passionate people that actually lead and give producers safety and they feel comfortable and help them through that process. I think that's how we're going to solve this problem in the lake. We need to help our producers.
And so is every farm different as far as the soil goes?
Absolutely. Every human mind is different. I think the reason why we haven't been able to fix our resource issues is because you're dealing with the human mind. And every human mind is different, just like that farm is. So you have to treat it that way.
Or maybe they've been doing things for the same way for generations.
Well, that's what I did. For 20 years, I thought really tilling the soil, using lots of fungicides, insecticides, and doing all those things were the right thing. And please, I'm not disparaging the tools.
Right.
Those are tools. I just didn't have the proper understanding. I didn't know what the goal was. The goal now is emulate nature. It's a huge difference. And once I start emulating, I don't need a lot of those tools. And if I do use those tools, I use them with wisdom and caution.
And once again, by doing those test strips that you just talked about, really illustrates how well that can work.
Absolutely. And the thing is, then the producer's watching his corn or whatever crop it is, and then he's monitoring through the whole, but the agronomist or the agroecologist or the person working with him will help him during that whole process, and then they'll build a relationship, because it's a two-way street. The producer teaches me just as much I help him.
And so what about people who just have some grass in their backyard? The same issues can apply.
Oh, absolutely. I think what we used to do, we just go throw chemical fertilizer because we could see it green up. We throw this salt out there, but people sometimes didn't realize when you put too much, you notice how you just killed the grass.
Right.
A majority of that time, people don't realize it takes huge amounts of natural gas to make that chemical fertilizer. A majority of the time, we just don't need it. If you put clover seed, clover is a legume, and it builds an association with bacteria, and they provide nitrogen, and it builds this beautiful association with the grass. Sometimes just putting clover seed in, it's beautiful, and just doing those basic things is a lot better than just throwing chemical fertilizer out there.
Well, awesome. Well, if you have more information, if you'd like more information on soil and other issues, you can contact the NRCS in Vermont by calling 802-951-6796. You can also check out their website by going to vt.nrcs.usda.gov. Again, the Natural Resources Conservation Service is on the web or by phone, 802-951-6796. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Great.
That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.